Health Minister briefed Vice President Josephine on preparation for the upcoming East Africa Health Scientific Conference. Government and partners discuss potential humanitarian plans following global aid cuts. Ruang Chief Administrator calls on both citizen and foreign nationals in Jau County to live peacefully. Very good afternoon, dear viewers. Welcome to SSBC News Live from Juba. I'm Susan Emiliano with the news in details. We begin with Health Minister Sarah Cleto Rial confirming over 800 new cholera cases in the country's 23 counties, underscoring an urgent need for cooperation in strengthening health measures to curb the spread of the disease. The minister revealed this to the Vice President for Service Cluster, Dr. Josephine Lagu, who received a briefing from her regarding preparations for the upcoming 10th East Africa Health Scientific Conference in Juba, stated for June 25 to 27, 2025. Separately, Vice President Josephine Joseph convened with Governor of Warape State, Ambassador Bolwek Aguth, to discuss a number of issues as he prepares to travel to the state. SSBC's Ayuel Ring Arop report.
As the country grapples with the health challenges, the Minister of Health, Sarah Cleto Rial, in a meeting with the Vice President for Service Cluster, Josephine Joseph Lago, has emphasized the urgent need for the regional cooperation in strengthening health measures to curb the spread of cholera epidemic. Minister Rial, who began her role last week, confirmed that the new cholera cases reported in 23 counties have surpassed 800. The minister updated Vice President Josephine Joseph Lago regarding ongoing preparation for the upcoming 10th East African Health Scientific Conference scheduled for June 25 to 27, 2025 in capital Juba.
And I look forward to very important work ahead of us, and we'll be focusing really on medical outbreaks. At this time we are met with cholera, so we have put a lot of work in terms of addressing the cholera, and we can report that
outline challenges facing us, which includes funding for key activities like information, publicity.
The Vice President is Press Secretary Nazaru Machelo said Vice President urged Health Minister to deepen collaboration with the ministry staff and technical experts to effectively address multiple challenges the institution is confronting.
Her Excellency Vice President also received update from the Ministry of Health on the status of cholera outbreak across the country. The Vice President assured the new Minister of Health of her cluster full support to the Ministry of Health in carrying out their duties.
In separate development, Vice President Josephine Joseph Lago also convened with the newly appointed Governor of Warape State, Ambassador Bolwek Agot, to discuss the challenges facing the health and education sector in the state. In a media briefing, Governor Agot expressed his support for the state of emergency declared by the President Salva Kiir Mayardit to restore law and orders in Warape State, pledging full commitment to its implementation as the military begin disarmament exercise.
I had a fruitful meeting with Vice President Josephine Lago, a very practical meeting where I have confirmed Vice President's support to my assignment. I'm lucky that she was already scheduled to visit Warab with the grassroots project in Mariallo Institute. That is the ticket that I can tell people of Warab that I'm coming for development. What I will be doing in Warab, my mission is to implement the state of emergency. Anyone who will be listening, like issue of disarmament, peacefully, will enjoy the peace and stability. He will enjoy the status of law-abiding citizen. Anyone who will resist will get a full-blown force of power.
Ayuel Ring Arop, SSBC News, Juba.
Governor Ambassador Bolwek Agot has paid a courtesy call on the Vice President in charge of Gender, Youths and Humanitarian Cluster, Rebecca Nyandeng Dimabur, to discuss relief crisis in the state and how young people, including women, could be empowered by the government through capacity building and entrepreneurial programs. More in the following report by Paul Biz.
The newly appointed governor of Warab State, Bolwek Agot, briefed Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng on matters related to security and humanitarian affairs under his new leadership in the state. The two leaders stressed strategies and mechanisms of addressing crises affecting the communities in Warab State. Speaking to the media after the meeting in Juba on Tuesday, Governor Weka Agot persuaded the community of Warab State to abide by the rules of law and to coexist peacefully. He says without peace, there can be no development in the region.
There are good examples that I can borrow. Will is the most stable state, socially cohesive. The reasons are there. We can learn from them. Lake State under General Rintwing was one of the troubled states earlier, but now it's peaceful. What did you do? That's an experience we need to borrow. We don't need to borrow from Europe or America. We have a relevant experience. Lastly, Warab State, where we have Tony, where a trouble spot is, is one of the traditional laws that has been enacted by traditional leadership. That is the home of Deng Nial, and that is the home of our president, Warab State. We should give them respect. We should benefit from their name and their expertise. And these are some of the messages that I will be doing the talking to remind people. Those who will listen, I'll work with them. Those who will not listen, the supremacy of the government will be applicable. Like what happened to Nasser. In Nasser, when White Army overran Nasser, Nasser now has been taken by the government. So I'm going to represent the government, and I will use the government machinery to make people listen if they are not listening.
In a separate meeting, Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng and the Chief Executive Officer and the founder of the Breeze of the Spirit Ministries International discussed matters pertaining to religious affairs. In a statement to SSBC, the Chief Executive Officer of the Faith Ministries, Michelle Corol, says the discussion revolved on religious activities for promoting peaceful coexistence among the communities in the country.
And I am so honored to have met this woman of God. I am so impressed, first of all, with her humility, with her elegance, and with her focus for this nation, and for her prayers, and her very deliberate life of complete and absolute dedication to the Lord and to his people.
A member in the Shai calls upon South Sudanese to renounce tribalism, but to accept and practice peace and unity.
Here, I was coming with a woman of God. We need God to do this thing, so break out this tribalism in our country, South Sudan. We want South Sudan to become a one country, South Sudan, no tribalism.
The two meetings on Tuesday are focused on applying religious practices and norms in promoting peace, tolerance, and unity in the country. Reporting for SSBC, I am Paul Bith.
The Speaker of Parliament, Gemma Nunu Kumba, has assured the August House unwavering dedication to supporting Warab State in various parliamentary-related programs. Speaker Nunu made the assurance during a meeting with Governor Bolwek Agot, who she congratulated on his appointment for winning the trust of President Salva Kiir to address prevailing challenges affecting Warab State.
I came here as a new governor of Warab State to seek her support and prayers in my new assignment, because Warab State, as you all know, has been a difficult state to govern. So I feel that any society is run by three social groups, very distinct social groups. The leaders, who are considered to be elders, whether they are young or old, they have the wisdom because they have the experience and expertise. And God is nearer to them always because they manage the society, they manage human affairs. And she's in that category. because she has been a former SG and she has different portfolio in the government. The middle-age group who have the expertise and experience offer an experience in an assignment. And people like me who are middle-aged and young, especially in this assignment, if we join hands together, we can succeed because it's not complicated. Human affairs are accessible, you know, they can be expressed in any form. And in this case, what people of Warab need is security, peace, and development. I want to say that communication is the key, you know, is the key. Communication, I would want my word to be taken within the context, because I have an interest to serve my people so that we come out from where we are.
Right Honourable Speaker of the TNLA, Dr. Gemma Kumba, had a courtesy visit today from the newly appointed Governor of Warrap State, His Excellency Bolwek Agoth. She congratulated him on his new appointment and for gaining the trust of the President to provide services in and manage the challenges within Warrap State. The meeting comes as part of a series of meetings the Governor is holding with relevant institutions to streamline ways of working through His Excellency the President's declaration of a state of emergency within Warrap State, in an effort to restore law and order. The Right Honourable Speaker ensured that the TNLA will work within its capacity to support the Governor's work within Warrap. She wished him the best of luck in his assignment, reinforcing that his early cooperation with various arms of government is already a promising sign of his tenure.
Northern Bahr el Ghazal Governor Simon Ober Mawood says the general security and political situation is stable as clans go about their daily economic activities. Mawood stated this following his meeting with the Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Madut Yel, on Monday, where he pledged to work closely with the state authorities for the benefit of the people of Awil.
We have just concluded a very fruitful meeting with Honorable General Madut, the new National Security Advisor. I've come to personally congratulate him on his new assignment as Advisor on National Security. We have also touched base on a number of issues of security concern, where we identified areas of cooperation, and Honorable Advisor has assured me of his full support and that of the Directors General of the two operational organs of the National Security Service.
Government and partners have convened to discuss the country's humanitarian plans following global and AIDS cards. A two-day retreat attended by the Ministers of Finance and Planning, Dr. Mariel Dongrin, and of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akol Attack, brought together humanitarian stakeholders to evaluate the success and challenges in future disasters. Edri Stephen has more.
In his unambiguous address to the United Nations humanitarian actors, the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Mariel Dongrin lauds humanitarian agencies for the good work they are doing in the country. He says the government has allocated a portion of the budget for fiscal year to supplement efforts of humanitarian actors for partially compensating cuts in humanitarian funding from donors.
The government of the Republic of South Sudan deeply values the unwavering partnership and the technical expertise provided by the United Nations. We are prioritizing institutional reforms to enhance the government's ability to plan, budget, and deliver essential social services effectively and accountably. Recognizing the persistent humanitarian needs, the government is committed to shouldering greater responsibility. The current budget 2024-2025 allocated significant domestic resources to complement donor-funded efforts, reflecting our resolve to avail national resources to address crisis.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albina Kolatak, calls upon the humanitarian actors to align their priorities with the government's development agenda of sustainability and self-reliance.
This retreat is to evaluate the progress. While doing so, I want you to consider the following priorities of the government. One is strengthening resilient and institutional capacity so that communities in South Sudan can transit from dependency to self-reliance. Number two, early warning system and mitigation. Of course, when we have some issues like floods, the best thing we reduce the impact of this emergence on people of South Sudan. Number three, monitoring and evaluation. This is to ensure programs remain responsive and impactful. And number four, coordination. So we must work more efficiently to avoid this coordination is to have effectiveness, efficiency, and also to avoid duplication.
The resident United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator, Anita Kiki, is optimistic about the retreat, enabling partners to come up with a number of outcomes and actions to confront new challenges and make a better life for the people of South Sudan.
We hope to come out of the retreat with agreement on 2, perhaps 3, or even 4 outcomes and actions that can guide our collective work in the coming year. This retreat is an opportunity to build on that foundation, to listen with open minds, to ask the tough questions, to learn from each other.
The United Nations and humanitarian partners are holding the retreat in part to evaluate the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in a bid to spearhead the role of humanitarian agencies in confronting disasters and restoring hope for the affected population. Edri Stephen, SSBC.
Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Hussein Abdul Bagi Akol met with Jonglei State Governor Dr. Rigathi Koch in his office on Tuesday. In a statement to the media shortly after the meeting, the ministry's Undersecretary Professor Matthew Gordon Udu says the discussion centered on availing land to the ministry as part of government efforts to boost mechanized farming. Governor Dr. Rigathi Koch appealed to the people of the state to focus on agriculture.
As you may all recall, that Honorable Minister for Agriculture paid a visit last month to Jonglei State, where he was received by the government and the people of Jonglei, and he toured some payams in Bor County, whereby he saw for himself the huge agricultural potentials that are. So today I've conveyed to him that all the counties have already fulfilled their promise to offer 250,000 fadans for each 9 counties of Jonglei State. So those 250 times 9 counties will be available next year, and during this rainy season, technical people will be working to demarcate and to be gazetted so that they are available for investors, whether locally or foreign investors.
While I'm in Juba, the state will be receiving the first donation of tractors that have been donated by His Excellency the President to the states, and then they will, of course, embark in assisting the farmers during this agricultural season.
They touched the area which the ministry had already launched, and they talked to different governors of different states to avail land for agriculture program in their respective state. The governor said that they are following that one seriously, and the land is going to be ready. And also they touch on issue on how to engage the people to participate in the agriculture program in the state. The governor also said that this program, they are supporting it seriously, and it is going to take place as it is. And then the governor also informed us that they are planning to organize a conference, a peace conference in Aurora County, where at least people could sit down and then discuss what are the problems facing them in the state. And they may invite the minister to come and attend it, because by doing that, the land will be peaceful and people will engage in the agriculture program.
The Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority convened a meeting focusing on the progress made in public procurement system. Speaking during the opening, Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Bej George Anyak, urges accounting offices to follow procurement system to ensure service delivery. The chairperson of the Board of Directors for Public Procurement and Disposal of Asset Authority, Ayi Bol, acknowledges the role played by the World Bank and their development partners in the country.
As to have Honorable Chris, Minister of Information from Republic of Uganda, came to attend with us as an invited guest representing the Ministry of ICT in Uganda to attend the IACO assembly function that will be started from tomorrow. And we are blessed to have him in our presence. Honorable Chris, you are most welcome to Republic of South Sudan, and may briefly maybe tell the listeners and why are we here and why were we invited. You are most welcome.
We are here for IACO, and as ministers responsible for information and ICT, to discuss and see how we can collaborate, how we can work together in the areas of digital transformation. Because today it is technology that is driving the world in terms of socio-economic transformation. And indeed, countries in sub-Saharan Africa, countries which are still developing, Uganda and South Sudan, we share a lot of commonality. And we are here to learn from each other.
The Azande community organized Thanksgiving event to honor President Kiir for appointing Major General Elia Costa Faustino, the Director General of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passports and Immigration. The function brought together dignitaries from the national and state government. Dengashol has more.
Azande community fixed a Thanksgiving service to honor President Salva Kiir Mayardit for appointing Major General Elia Costa Faustino, the Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration in the South Sudan National Police Service. Speaking at the occasion, the Acting Minister of Interior, Mangarbong Alwenge, calls upon the new Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration to apply his long service experience in the police service to reform the Directorate to serve the people of South Sudan.
لازم تركزوا في تعليم ولازم تركزوا في وحدة بتاعكم عشان نشيل جنوب للأمام وبيجوا ربنا كمان عشان اللي يستمر في شغله ويجلس بتوع كويس ويعمل تقدم للشعب بتاع جنوب السودان
The Inspector General of the National Police Service, General Abra Manuat Peter, says the police service stands by Major General Elia Costa in his service at the Directorate. He encouraged the police to be disciplined in the course of their duties and to abide by the police mandate in upholding the rule of law.
Police is a family. Mafi police, kukula min hita filania, wala min hita filania. Elia Costa, fi mahalana na nagatu fogu kulu, bimafiu awili, bimafiu junguleki, mafi yom wahid, amal shakwa, galana mahalda, anma bamsi, ana beafi nas, nungulum bantiu, ukukula na mabukelu kutanwe. Today, Mahinda Zaba police, intervention mahal, we are sharping you. Elia Costa, we have been sharping him all these years and we are observing him.
The chairperson of Azande community in Juba, Andrea Minala, compliments the President Kiir Mayardit for the trust bestowed upon Elia Costa, a son of the Azande community. He links the appointment to the President's recognition of the Azande community.
The Azande kingdom is for a peaceful coexistence among all tribes of this country.
Major General Elia Costa promises his community and the entire South Sudanese population he will serve the people loyally without discrimination. He calls upon all members of the Azande community to coexist peacefully among themselves and with the neighboring communities.
بدون تميز أنا ده من قبيلة كده ولا ده من قبيلة كده. في النهاية جنوب السودان مناطق جنوبي بيستحق الوثيقة أو الجنسية أو الجواز الموجود هنا. South Sudan oye! South Sudan oye! Azande community oye!
President Kiir decreed the appointment of Major General Elia Costa Positino to the position on the 20th February 2025, a long-serving police officer from pre-independent South Sudan, succeeding Major General Simon Major-Babek. Elia Costa is the 6th Director General of the Directorate of Civil Registry, Nationality, Passport and Immigration. Deng Achol, SSBC News, Juba.
And let's go for a short break and we shall be back right in a moment. Welcome back from that short break, and to continue, the first Advisory Council and 38th Annual Assembly of the East African Communication Organization continues in Juba, with participants affirming commitment to strengthening and promoting cooperation among the East African community member countries. Abate Simon has more.
The working groups and committees are continuously searching for and adopting best practices in information, communication technology, infrastructural development, connectivity, sharing, and digital inclusion for East African community communication sector. The chairperson of the Human Resource significant milestones in strengthening and promoting cooperation among the East African community countries.
The working group will focus on the implementations of regional e-waste management strategy 2027, sorry. That countries have different levels of e-waste management. This one is true because we have different levels of e-waste management in each country. Some of the countries do not have rules and regulations, maybe guidelines and policies and all these things. So we have different levels of. So this one is a challenge.
The chairperson of the working group for Information Communication Technology Policy and Regulatory Framework Harmonization, Nirera Juliet, says the team is working to addressing concerns in developing and providing postal, telecommunication and broadcasting services in East Africa.
The planned activities for financial year 2025-2026 is to update the database with broadcasting and postal indicators, to produce of biannual reports for communication sectors, statistics covering the three subsectors of telecommunication, broadcasting and postal.
The East Africa Communication Organization is currently faced with giant and overwhelming innovative technology evolution, which demands the body to run abreast with new trends in improving and adopting best practices from global ICT stakeholders. Abate Simon Godo, SSBC News.
The Ministry of Peace Building, in partnership with the United Nations Educational, Science and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, and the UN Peace Building Fund, as well as Hope for Africa South Sudan, discussed Youth's Leading Peace project. The project, theme Capacity Building for Young People, aims to mechanism for implementation of youth peace and security initiative across the country. Addressing participants, the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Peace Building, Pierre Philip Michael, urges young people to refrain from hate speech and be ambassadors of peace.
Leaders should take their community to the right place. A leader behaves like a hen that protects the chicks from the birds. For you to benefit from this country, one thing, only one thing you need to focus on, and the rest will follow. Peace, building, and social cohesion. You must be the one to build peace. When you build your peace between you and your neighbor, a county, a Boma, a Payam, peace will flourish.
وعشان السلام ده يكون يكون مسؤولية تكون في الشباب في المقام الأول. وتبني تبدو التوعية للناس ما يعمل حاجة الكعب. ودولتنا ده ودولتنا دي محتاجة السلام. أنا كسياسيين بكل أطراف لازم تلاقي في تقريبا 2018 قاعد نأكد قاعد نلتزم كل يوم إنه جنوب ده ما يرجع للحق ثاني مهما كان.
I want to thank the government of South Sudan for its commitment to build a peaceful nation. I also want to thank the Peace Building Ministry. They have taken ownership of this project and they really shown us commitment. I also want to thank us. They have really helped us reach our goals as UNESCO. And lastly, I want to thank Peace Building Fund for giving us these grants to do this project and also their commitment to seeing a better South Sudan.
Chief Administrator Stefano Will de Malek calls for peaceful coexistence in Ruang Administrative. Chief Administrator, who has addressing a public rally in Jau County, emphasized the importance of harmonious relations between the inhabitants and foreign nationals to facilitate the delivery of essential services and promote stability. Additionally, the State Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agency, Gabriel Wor George, stresses government efforts towards peace and unity. The Commissioner of Jau County, James Mading, explained some of the challenges facing the area residents.
الهدف بتاع الزيارة ده هدف واحد عشان نجي نتكلم معكم وضع العامة في دولة ولا سوف في عالم وتجهيزات بتاعنا كشعب بتاع رويل. الهدف نمرة 2 طبعا بالنسبة لي دائما قاعد يكون فرصة عشان برضو نعمل توعية ونتكلم مع الشعب بتاعنا ونوريه السياسة بتاع الحكومة بتاعي شنو والأهداف بتاعنا شنو في وقت أنا جيت والوقت اللي كان فات كان عملنا شنو. هذا نمرة 3 ده مسج بالنسبة للتعايش السلمي. طبعا انتم شفتوا مقاطعة جو ده مقاطعة انه فرق مع باقي المقاطعات. الجو مع جمجم ده محل يعني نحن كشعب بتاع رويل ده محل لو زول جاي من جنوب ولا زول جاي من برا هيجي يشهد انه الشعب بتاع رويل شعب سالم وشعب بتاع سلام. آخر ده شكر. طبعا يا جماعة دائما لازم تدي الناس شكر. طبعا نزلت في مطار يوم ده وانتم استقبلوني لكن انا عملت نص ساعة و20 دقيقة ومشيت باريا. فبدل وانا جاي نقول شكرا لكم لاستقبال كبير بتاع يوم ده وما في شيء من كده نديكم الا نقول شكرا لكم يا شعب بتاع مقاطعة جو.
انا بطلب منكم حاجات لا نخلي عن كل شيء ونمليه انه قاعد يقول لنا شنو لا نعمل شنو. سمينا انا الامني دايرين شنو انا الامني. لا سمينا انا زراعة داير شنو عشان انا نزرع. سمينا انا صار داير مننا شنو عشان انا نعمل حاجة صحية عشان نكون عصا. فجأة نحن بنشوف يا جماعة كشعب لازم نتدوات ونقبل بعض عشان نمشي للقدام. فأنا مبسوط من خطاب بتاع رئيس الكيم بتاع جبال النوبة. نحن يا جماعة نحن شعب واحد. نحن ناضلنا من أجل البلد ونحن طلعنا سويا. انتم ما في برا منه. فلو جيتوا وقعدوا معنا هنا لازم زول يشعر انه قاعد في بلد بتاعه. اقبل انه المحافظ ده المحافظ بتاعه. الشرطة في شارع ده الشرطة بتاعه. المواطن اللي في شارع ده اخوه. نحن لازم نكون في الطريقة ده. لأن ما ممكن ناس كتار زي ده وجو لو ما اتفقنا بقلوبنا عشان نقعد سويا ونعمل الأمن بتاعنا سويا من صعب عشان يتحقق.
مقاطعة جو هي إحدى مقاطعات إدارية رويل 8 وهي كما تتميز بتعايش السلمي. عشان كده انتوا قاعدين تشوفوا مقاطعة جو مليئة بأجناس مختلفة. ده ما من فراغ، ده من تعايش بدوام لأنه ده شعب مسالم وأشياء كتير بشأن.
Finally, government reassures commitment to protecting foreign nationals in the country. This follows a meeting between the governor of Western Bahar al-Ghazal State, Emmanuel Primo Okello, and the Eritrean ambassador to South Sudan, Ioannis Tekle-Michael, in Wau on Monday. In a media briefing, Ambassador Ioannis Tekle-Michael explains that his visit aimed to inspect the conditions of Eritrean community in the state. The State Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Arcangelo Anyar, affirms commitment to protecting foreign nationals and their property.
the team came from Juba, well received by the acting governor, and indeed we are warmly received and welcome. And gladly we will be having 4 days training capacity building with members of the Finance Committee in the State Legislative Assembly, plus other DGs from the economy cluster. So for time, maybe 3 to 4 days will be in Malakal town on capacity building under the UNDP and the Bailey Consultant.
On behalf of the acting governor of Upper Nile State, Genjo Rango, we today received the team from Juba, the specialized committee from national MPs from Juba, and for the training of our state committee for the finance in assembly, also to train our DGs in the economic cluster. So we welcome them and we will receive the training, and we are very happy that our national government, that our state, the national ministers for economic cluster come and do the training.
We were here to receive the delegation from National Assembly and Council of State Group. They are here in Malakal in the State Assembly of Upper Nile State. We received them today, and tomorrow they are going to conduct a workshop with various ministries in the state, particularly the State Assembly, the Minister of Finance, and Minister of Trade, Revenue Authority, and other institutions that fall under the economic.
And that story brings us to the end of our news for this afternoon. Please stay tuned for the rest of our ongoing programs. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of my team, I am Susan Emiliano. Bye-bye for now.